Right, this video is an extension video. So if you've finished any of the other guides and you've got through it where you've finished your work in a specific lesson, it might be you've just done the table, you might have done the table and the query, you might have done all three, table, query and report. But we're going to look at forms. Forms are slightly different to the others. The others are about creating and editing data, whereas a form is more about adding it. Okay, it's not like a table where you organise it, you're adding it. As you can see here, I've got my table with my data of some of my favourite movies and Gravity. Gravity is not one of my favourites, I was just looking for another 12. But I've got some of my favourite movies in there. So we're now going to find a way of entering the data. Now a user might come into your database like this, double click on your table and get it up, and they can add the information to the bottom. Now, in this database, that's not really that hard, but in some databases, might be a lot of information. There might be more than one table of data, and it might be a bit confusing. So what we do is we create a form. So to do that, we select the table we want from the left-hand side, and you'll probably be on the home menu. I was on Create. So from the home menu, we go to Create. We click on Form. There's Form, Form Design, and Blank Form, and some other wizards, but the quickest one is Form. So we click on Form, and you'll see it's got TBL movies in the top, TBL movies there, and it's got my first record. If I go down to the bottom, I can click left and right, and it goes through my different records, and it's just a slightly different layout. What it still has is the underscores and the titles that I've given things already from my table. Now, those aren't always clear to a user. They might not know what I want. So I'm going to start off by, I'm going to change those titles. So we're going to double click on it and it'll let me get into the title. So I'm going to change from TBL movies to a new movie. And I click off and I've got a nice new title. Movie name. I'm going to movie space name, date released, change to date space released, length in minutes, I'm going to put brackets minutes, and certificate I think is fine. Now that's just cleaned it up a little bit. So what you'll notice is there's a bit of a space there where we can't see the word minute. So if I click on it and I get my arrows, I can drag it a bit further and we can now see it. So that's looking a bit nicer, a bit cleaner. So when I go through them, it's nice and easy to see. Now I might, on my database, want a certain style. So colors and styles are really important because they tie companies or governments' information together. So something like Coca-Cola always uses red, Cadbury's always use purple. I'm going to make my own little style. What I can do is select something like this writing, and I can go to my format menu, and I've got these here colors and styles to change it to. So I might want to make it bold. I might want to change the type of writing to something else. Let's have it as AR Bianca. Let's make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to change the color to green. I'm going to change the background color of that section to, let's say, a white. Okay, and that's got that in there. Now these ones here, I want to change those to green, and that AR Bianca to go with what I had. I'm going to make them bold as well. Okay, I'm going to use the select key on my keyboard. Sorry, not the select key, the shift key. So I'll show that again. So click on it, hold shift down, and I can click on other ones. And I'm going to do the same to these ones. Okay, and that now looks a little bit nicer, a little bit better. If I click on the back of that one, so I select the whole box, I can change just the color of that box. So I've changed my mind, I now want it a nice yellow color. So let's click on this one and make that yellow as well. And if I click on this section here, can change, sorry, not this section, inside. Here I can change the background to the whole area, so I'm going to make that sort of a lighter pink. And now it just looks a little bit nicer, okay? And from the point of view of a user, it just looks quite nice. If we go to this button here right at the end, when we're navigating through our records, and we click it, so it's got an arrow with a little star on it, it will come up with a blank one. Now that lets us add in something new, okay, a new record. So I'm going to add in a new record. I'm going to go to www.imdb.co.uk. Will work. It's taking a little while to load. Okay, and then I am going to search for a movie. So one of my favourite movies is Indiana Jones, particularly Temple of Doom. Okay, so I'm going to find my information on that. I'm going to add it into here. So the movie name is, type into there. So that's really frustrating. I can't actually type into there. Now there's a reason for that, and that's because if we click on design, we're in the wrong sort of view. We're in layout view. What we want to do is be in form view. So if I go into form view, I can now type and the temple. So what this is, it's like the views you had before with your table. You've got your editing sort of view for editing the colours and styles, and you've got your view, which is form view, for putting the information in. So I'm going to put date released in. So we click on here, go back, date released, I can see there, it's the 23rd of May 1984. That is the US release date, but I'm not really that fussed. So 24th of the 5th, 1984. The certificate is PG and the length is 1 hour and 58 minutes. So let's go back to here and put certificate as PG and the length 1 hour 58 minutes, 60 plus 58, which is 118, so 118 minutes. And basically I've done that now, so I can click off of it. And what you should notice is this number of records here said out of 10, and it now says out of 11. So I've added a new record. If I close this, it will ask me to save. I go yes. And here it says TBL movies. And remember what I said before about saving the different types or objects within a database, is that we need to give them the right name. Well, this is a form, so we're going to use FRM. Okay, and we'll notice that our form movies comes up here. If I go back to my table, TBL movies, you will notice there at the bottom, I will just expand that, is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and I've got the information in there. So what I've done is, rather than adding it on here, I'm using this user form to add my information in. Okay, so the next stage, if you've done what we've been doing in this particular lesson, is to work on that, is to try and add a form onto your database to make it easier for users to enter data.